If you had the ability to go back in time to see what went wrong, to change what is repeating now, would you? And, if you had the ability to go to the future to see what you will be looking forward to, and when you return prepare for any changes needed. Welcome to the Cosmos Unveiled. With today's podcast speakers are Martijn and Olivia.
For the people that are listening, my name is Martijn. Today I'm going to have a chat, a kind of interview. And the topic of today is timelines. Speak about it and ask some questions. From there we just go and see where we end. Are you ready for the first question?
My name is Olivia. I am not a channeler. I'm not a medium. I'm just like everybody else.
Okay. Well, let's go to the first question. The first topic is timelines. Yeah, you read a lot about it, and there's a lot of YouTube videos about timelines. I would like to ask you first, before we go deeper into timelines, what is time? Can you tell a little bit more about what exactly time is, and does it really exist, or?
Time is set like a calendar for you can know when the sun and the moon are circling in your orbit, for you can know what day it is as it rotates. Each moment that moves and the earth is circling as well, that is giving you a time. That's a digit there. And there are many that say that time doesn't exist.
Yes.
And they're right. Time doesn't exist when you're inside the Merkaba. And
Okay.
I'll explain that another time.
The Merkaba, yeah, that's something you can read about as well. It's interesting. So technically, if the planet would stop revolving, or the planet would stop revolving, there would be no time. Is that correct?
That time would be still.
Time would be still. Okay, that's interesting. Second question: what are timelines?
Timelines is other realities. Let's pick 1829. Whatever is happening on that timeline is happening at the moment as we're speaking right now. So that's a different timeline. But there is also timelines that could be right now at this moment and existing in the other side of the world, even though their time is different. But the time that you're at, that's the same time of the moment of something is happening.
Right. Yeah, it's a bit something difficult to understand. Maybe you can tell a little bit more about the purpose of timelines. Why are there timelines?
Timelines exist is because every person born at a specific time, at a specific date, will not experience the same thing another child will be born to, either that same day but a different time, or another day, and whatever time that is. We all live in a different time, and that is your birth calendar.
So, for example, your brother or your sister you grow up with have a
Yes.
different experience, even though you are living together, but only are born in a different year. You experience the world differently. Is that how we should see it?
There's been times in the past where there was me and two other siblings standing, we're at a park or something waiting, and I saw this car that didn't look like the car of that timeline. And this was in the 1990s, and this car was a Cadillac, cream color, very nice. But when I looked at it, I remember having dreams of it. Now that car's from more of the future, which I see it now. I see that model now, and it's when I saw it this past year, that's the car I saw like over 20 some years ago.
Interesting.
But my sister didn't see that. They didn't know what I was talking about. And then I go, it's right there. And when I looked, I go, it was gone. There was no place for him to turn. He had to make a U-turn, and that would have took too long.
And does the person that drives the car experience this from his or her perspective? Is in their own timeline? How does it work? They have a perception of being in another time?
I can't say that to that particular person. He looked like he was just driving.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't go back into that time and look for him and say, hey, by the chance that you noticed that you were in the past time. I didn't do that.
No. But is this something that happens often?
I'm going to say last year it happened way too much. In January of this year, it did happen a couple of times. I think it was the Mercury retrograde.
Mercury retrograde. Oh, great.
These forces were really strong this past month that I saw things before it happened. Whenever I see something to try to change the image in my head, sometimes I can. And because the Mercury retrograde, I wasn't able to change it. I was able to stop some of it from actually happening. I see the ripples of space and it just like waved, and so the incident that was supposed to happen didn't.
It also has to do, is connect astrology timelines, is it correct?
Timelines, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, I did purchase a book for beginners like 25 years ago because that was part of my assignment. I had to understand some of it. Completely understood it when I put it together with the Mayan calendar and the zodiac, also the mandala, how it works.
Aha. Okay.
It's every little cube, every little part, it's moving constantly.
And what about numbers? Is people that see
Numbers?
Are numbers connected to timelines as well? That people see constantly certain numbers?
I am more into the numerology than I would be astrology, and I'm not knocking astrology because it does have a purpose as well. It's a combination of both. Even though I don't use the calendar that's out there, I use what's in my mind, in my conscious. I connect with space, with the earth. I see it, how it's moving, and then I see the numbers correlate what to do next and what door to open and what door to close.
Okay. You read a lot about these people that see constantly the same number. Is that a moment that there's a kind of a gate opening or timeline or presenting, or can you say something about that?
I have read in the past of others that have shared with me about when they saw the secret numbers, what it was meaning. For others, they had wrote a book and put these ones that they were from your guardians. There were questions, the answers, and they were very positive. It took me a while this what it really was. Every time you see that number, you're supposed to think something positive. You're supposed to do positive thoughts, not only for yourself, for your loved ones, but for all. If you want the change to happen for the good, you have to do it for all. If you do it for a negative and you do it for a cause of selfishness, it's going to hurt you.
It's interesting you say that. Yeah, it's an interesting topic as well.
And they are activations, and those activations are for the positive or the negative, and it's our choice.
Okay, and is it these messages is it like a personal message, or is it like more for like in general?
Part of it is general, and part of it is for that collective.
Okay, all right.
It was connected with that other collectives that is part of that collective group. They will be able to help each other if they're all in the same focus mode. If one is like more in the negative battery than the positive battery and cannot find the balance of either or to be joined in the middle, then the one conscious or consciousness that are aware has to bring that one that's outside into a positive state by sending love. Help them heal, because that's your group. That is your collective group. You might not know who they are, but they are there.
So basically you have to be constantly aware of these messages.
And sometimes even when you think you're not aware, it just comes to you and you feel this positive energy come in, and use it. And if you look at a time or a receipt, whatever you're looking at, and you see that number, use it at that moment.
Okay, you have to pause. You have to pause on that moment, and
yeah.
It happens a lot. You mentioned clocks. People see a lot. They look at the clock and they see 11:11, 22:22, and so these are these activations.
Yes.
And can we link that to timelines as well?
Yes, we can use it with timeline. Whenever sometimes I see those, we'll see a portal open and I'll see like a hologram of another time. I seen that. I try to do a photo memory as much as I can. I'm supposed to learn something there. I'm supposed to either receive something that's maybe either one of the collectives has put there for me or I put there for myself as a time capsule of a memory to help me.
It's interesting. Would you be able to draw something like that? What you see, or would it be too difficult?
To draw something like that?
I think many people would be interested to say, "Wow."
Well,
what does it look
just like a scenery. It'd be a scenery. That's all it is a scenery. Sometimes there'll be people walking by.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. And then it closes as well. It disappears suddenly.
It just either ripplessly disappears or pixels just start to go away. If you're on a computer monitor and you see the pixels and all of a sudden they just go and you see a clear vision all of a sudden, it's the same thing.
And this happened to you just spontaneously, or?
Maybe at least once or twice a month.
All right.
For years, I kept getting them like maybe a few times a week that I had to just say, okay, I need to shift my mind and I need to focus where I'm at. I can't be going to other timelines just like that.
Oh, imagine you're driving.
I had to control it. I had to work with it, and I had to call for help.
Yeah, I can imagine when you're driving a car, it would not always be welcome, I guess. These things can be distracting.
Yeah, I have driven a car and all of a sudden I found myself in a different place. So then I came back to where I was at.
Dangerous, I might say, sometimes when you're driving a car. It's, happily you have never been in an accident because of it.
The collective group I'm in, and I think every one of us have this, protects us.
You are protected.
Make sure that when we get off track that we find our way.
Okay. Well, I'd like to ask you, how many timelines are there?
Oh, wow. So much. It's just like, if you look at a mandala and look at every teeny little bit of what's in a mandala, it never ends. It's an infinity. The number just goes beyond. So I can't even give a number. And I have read that in history they say they are supposed to be 4 realities. Well, that's not correct. And not to offend anybody, and not even our ancestors. Being able to sometimes go to other timelines, you have a question and you want an answer. You don't accept what's in a book or on a documentary. And I have to go to the source and look for it and ask them myself and see the scenery, what really happened. And that's what I do. I've noticed that so much information is not accurate, and it's nobody's fault.
And so how do you know what timeline you have to pick?
Good question. I go to multiple timelines, and then I kind of pull myself outside and I go into the Merkaba where there's no time. And then that's where I ask, can somebody come, the specific individual that I'm calling, or more than one, it depends what it is. And they'll meet me halfway and they'll give me the information in which one is more currently accurate and which ones that existed once because of a repeat were changed.
All right. And
it's really hard to be accurate on history.
I understand. So you read something and you think, I'm not sure about it. You go back in time, basically.
Yes.
And ask for help to guide you.
Yes.
And to receive the correct information.
Yeah. This planet is a school for all of us to learn. And those that don't accept it or their belief that it's impossible, this is why there is religious organizations and studies supposed to guide you there. And if it's not, look for something else besides where you're at to help you open other doors to see more.
I think a lot of people ask themselves, I would like to do that as well. How can I do it? To go back in time, and is there a kind of a school you need to go to learn this, or is this just some kind of technique?
I'm pretty sure there's schools out there. I do not know what schools would teach you that, and I guess you have to do research. But the thing is that school really going to help you, or are they going to benefit for themselves?
No.
Everything is inside us. We just need to activate it.
Nicely said. And you have learned this, you have been taught this, doing this for many years, I think.
Yes.
Many lives. Okay, so there are many timelines, so basically infinite timelines. Can't count them. There are too many.
Correct.
I think is also how can we jump or shift to other timelines, and does it happen spontaneously as well? How does it work?
It's pretty much going back about the numbers. When you see like 1111, the sequence, that's pretty much when you can jump, like set your mind to get ready to jump. Whenever you see that number like that and you did make something to change that, you're going to see a number within the hour or two again. Or sometimes it depends on how your focus was. It'll be the next day or within that week. And then when you see that jump again, pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to your senses. Look at everything. Look at color. Listen to the sound and scent and the feel of everything.
You have to be on that moment, pause everything and look and that what's happening, what's going on in that moment.
Yeah.
And how do you know? Is it always noticeable that you shifted to another timeline, or is it just most people don't even realize it?
I think some people don't realize it. I can't say most. Some people that I have talked to, they say they can't tell, but I have asked them, I'm grateful that I can see it. But those that can't, what is your strong sense? If it's not your visual, is it your sound? Is it the feeling when you touch? Because, the air can touch you, when it blows and stuff. And when something shifts, it can touch you. So what is it? I had some people tell me, I think it's the touch. I can feel the draft change. And others have told me, I can hear the sound change. And I can hear things change. And I went, then that's your strong point.
All right. Your message is pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awareness, yeah.
Awareness. Is it possible that people are stuck in their lives and things are repeating to them? Is it possible that they are like kind of stuck in some timeline?
I get this asked so many times, and I have given advice, but it's up to the individual what they want to experience and the lessons to learn. They are stuck in a timeline when things keep repeating. For some people, it'll be every year they keep repeating it. For others, will be 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. But when you see that same pattern coming to you, it's a test. The universe tests you. Are you ready to go to the next level? Are you ready to close that chapter or book and open a new beginning that you don't have to repeat this no more?
So basically, you can go out of the timeline when you have learned your lesson.
Out of that timeline, yeah. But you can also be tricked. It'll come back again and it'll trick you. Almost like, don't you miss this? Don't you really want it?
It's like
you desire it.
It's like a spiral. It's a spiral way of going up. You see it again. However you go up, it comes on your path again.
It's stored out there someplace, and then it kind of triggers your inner being, and it says, "Come on, you want this." And every time it does that to me, I already learned it. What do I want to experience it for? And then it just leaves you. It just goes away. That energy just fades away. But it will always find a certain time when it depends on your emotion that it'll look for it and say, aha, I got her now. She's at a bad point. I can do it. I still say no. I still say no because I remember what I went through, what I learned, and why bring it back. It's not going to change. You think it will, but it's not.
So basically the universe keeps you in the timeline. It's impossible to escape it. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
All right. So people know what they need to do when they're stuck. They need to look at their lives. They need to look at themselves. Yeah. Is it possible to look in possible futures? We already looked in the past. You can look in the past, but is it also to look in the future? Because this is kind of controversial. Can you predict the future then, if it's possible?
Many will probably disagree on this. It could be multiple timelines, and whatever door that's going to be in that future is going to be picked for you. You have at least 7 doors to choose from. From that 7, it'll go down to 5 to 3, and then you pick that one by the time you get to that. And it depends what timeline you're talking about in the future. Are you talking about 1, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? It just graduates how many doors you're going to get to that point where you open the correct door. What it actually gives you is the future is what you want to perceive, which others will probably call it a goal. You can do that. And then you go to the future. If you're able to talk to yourself or see yourself, what you're doing there, it gives you a chance, an opportunity to work on where you're at in this timeline to work it. And if you don't want to make mistakes that you don't remember clearly, then you go to the past and see what you did wrong and what it could have been changed. And when you're looking at the past, you still have doors, other doors that you could open, even though you're not experiencing it anymore because you choose the other door. You can still see what you could have done and use it for the moment and for your future.
So a possible past.
Only for you won't make the same mistake.
Okay, so but the future is not fixed. It all depends. There's many factors that make our future, right? Okay, but you, for example, do you use it for yourself or for others, or?
Yes, I use it for myself all the time, and I can't say I use it for others because it's up to the individual. That's their choice. I cannot interfere.
No.
We cannot interfere for each other's. The only thing I can do is just send them positive messages that to help them or to direct them in the right way where I know would be good for them. But it's really still up to them if they're going to open that door.
But you could see possible future when they open or not open the door. You can basically see.
For others?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, but it is forbidden.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say that.
Sometimes if I ask permission to do so, or if that person gives me permission, and if I'm allowed, I will tell them, okay, this is what I see. But to tell you that's it, it's not. I go, it could be this, it could be that, or it could be this one. But at least you're aware. That way, when you're going to that direction, you'll be more cautious.
Okay, it's a kind of a universal law that you cannot interfere with people's decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager and when I was exploring that gift of that side of me, got in trouble pretty bad from the universe. It taught me a lesson, and I had to say I'm sorry and that I won't do it like that again. But then when I hit 30, I took a job as a fortune teller.
Oh.
I only lasted a day and a half. Then everybody I talked to, it was kind of amazed how immediately I knew what was going on. I go, I don't know. I didn't want to know that much. I don't want to know that much information from a person. I only need to know what could be for their future or somebody that's going to come into their life to help each other and heal in the right direction. But I was seeing too much, and I was trying to hold back as much as possible that my body would shake. And I told the person that hired me, I said, I can't do this. This is too much for me. I take on too emotionally on people's.
So 1.5 days was too much for you already to see possible futures of people, and so you found out fortune telling is not something I should do.
And after I left, my teachers from other realities showed up and told me, do you see why we don't want you to do this, to be taking that kind of job? I got it.
I think the same would be if you can read people's minds, know what people think. I think it will be the same emotions. You will have too much information you don't want to know.
Sometimes I can walk in a room and I'll know, like every person I pass by, I can hear their thoughts, what they're trying to decide in their life and stuff. And then I'll have to walk out and then meditate, shift, close it out. And then I have to put a wall. Then I'll walk back in there.
All right. So the gifts you have is not how do you say that? It's a gift you have, but it can also be a burden. Yeah.
Yes. I've learned to control that side, so I'm okay now. Years ago, no way. I could hear what was going on in the neighbor's house or something, and then I go, no, I don't need to hear this.
No, it's too much
Yeah.
information. What would you tell people that have plans to go to fortune teller, or what would you say to these people? Is that a good idea to future other people?
It's not for me to say. This is just of me who I am, that
Sure.
it's not good for me. For others, I think for fortune telling or going to a numerology, I think it's like going to a counselor. It's somebody there to help you, to support you.
Sure.
So it's really the individual's choice.
So you could be a consult to check fortune tellers. Yeah, they could consult you to check if the fortune tellers are trustworthy, are credible, the credits.
I can't really say. It depends on who you go to. I mean, some of
Sure.
my friends are fortune tellers and numerologists. They're really good, and they don't want to take advantage of people. They feel like if they can't read that person, they're not going to accept the money. That's somebody that's honest.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And the person should be neutral, and always the person that goes to the fortune teller or numerologist, it is their own responsibility, their lives. And in the end, they can have advice, but in the end, it's your life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, is it possible? How can you influence timelines? So, if I want a different future, how does it work? If I want a different, how can I change the present? How can I change the present time? How can I influence timelines? Basically, is the question.
To influence the time that you're in right now, you
Yes.
want to change that?
For example, or is it just?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Everything of time that you want to do is a movement. Where do you want to be?
Okay.
If you do not want to be where you're living at now, but you want to live elsewhere, whether another home, another state, or a country, then that's changing your timeline. Even like your job, like you leave one job and you're going to another one, you're changing your whole timeline right there. Every time, whenever I did that, I had to look the whole surrounding. Is the energy here for me or against me? Because you don't want to live in an energy, an area that you're going to be fighting that energy because you're not supposed to be there.
Exactly. Okay. Basically, you have to change something drastically where you live, or your job, or your relationship. That totally will change your timeline for another one.
Yes.
Basically. So, and the time is there. How do you know when it's time to do it? Is when things start to be like routine. Things start to be repeating in your life. That's the idea. That you no new energies in your life, always the same. A signal that you have to change something.
Driving on a road, getting to work, and something's always going on there. Change that route and see if that helps. And if it don't, then maybe you're not supposed to be going in that direction anymore and find another job. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of people would think the same. But then it's always the fear of change, I think, for a lot of people.
I understand the fear thing, especially now. Is there enough jobs to pay people? And if there's enough pay to be able to pay that person to live, it's not easy. Sometimes when that's the case, even though you know that job is not for you, but you need to be there, find a way to make it work. Shift the energy of that room in that office of yours. You can do a feng shui. If you don't know what feng shui is, you can Google and read about it. The feng shui can be the way you have your decorated in your office, or put something up that can shift the energy. Your wardrobe, sometimes it's the wardrobe of feng shui that are you attracting the other people where they look at you positive instead of all angry all the time. that it's because of the unbalance of energy.
So
So
energy,
just about balancing.
okay. So energy is not flowing in the right direction, maybe. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean? Yeah,
yeah, balance the
right.
chi.
Balance the chi. Okay, it's interesting. I have one question left, but we already talked about it. I'm going to ask you anyway. Maybe you can tell a little bit more. The preparation, what training you need when working with timelines. Is that something you can learn? You can go to a workshop from someone, or do you need to have some qualities or gifts like you, or is it for anybody to learn to work with timelines?
You could probably find a workshop. Remote viewing is a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation and remote viewing, to me, is a good start for you to understand. And then the third eye. I hear many have that trouble, is the third eye.
Yeah.
And that's something to exercise. The way I did it, I did the 7 color chakra until I went all the way to 12. And I don't use the method that's out there. I use my own. And that's how it was taught by the teachers. That I always started 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. And that was gradually until I built myself up there.
All right. I think most people are familiar with 7, so there are more.
There's 12, and then from
12.
12 it becomes 24.
Oh.
And when you hit that 24, then you do another 12 again, and then do another 24. Kind of go through different dimensions.
I would say you're probably not living on the earth anymore if you can do that.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Again, because most people don't have an idea, or they have heard something about chakras, and you already talked about 24 and 12 and 24. It's interesting, by the way. Yeah. So, can I ask you about remote viewing? Because I have tried myself. I did some course, and I managed to get some results. So I felt that I could something like that you can learn. Whether you get good at it is the question of you have the talent. But I had some results. The mechanics behind it is basically going on timelines. Is that basically what you're saying?
It's to train you to be able to go to timelines. When you first do remote viewing, you could either do it by yourself or with a group. It's best to do it in a circle because everybody has to connect. The energy, all the energies needs to go to the center, and then it's supposed to circulate with everyone. That way they can protect themselves in a circle. You don't want to go into remote viewing to a place or an area that one of them in the group was having a hard time and was angry, and then you end up in the area, like I say, a war. And then everybody else has to be there too.
I had no idea you could do this I know you could do this in a group, but not like how you describe it, or together. But what I found interesting is that basically the coordinates you get are hidden, but somehow you pick it up. I found that the most amazing thing. There are certain coordinates you get, but you don't know where the place is. It could be here on Earth, it could be anywhere in the universe. And you get somehow information from that place. I find that very interesting. And I had no idea that timelines were so linked to it, the mechanics behind it. Is it the scientific way the best way to learn it, or are there other ways, like meditation or?
Yeah, it is scientific. If anything, from my studies and learning and different Bibles or different religions that I've read, and some information that I had to read because it's something that like if I experience something, I go, okay, there has to be some place in somebody's Bible, some religion that talks about this, and there is. Just about everything I've experienced, I've seen it in one religion or another. Some of them, these Bibles, some of them do not give you the complete detail. They make it look more like spiritual experience, which that's fine the technology of the human body versus the technology of machinery. We are no different from a computer.
Maybe it's something they don't want you to know. It's like filtered out.
I don't know. I don't have that answer, and if I do have the answer, I'd rather not share that.
No, I understand that. I was thinking loud. I was thinking loud. Why they share half of it?
Book of I think it's called The Keys of Enoch.
Ah, yes.
Someone had it one time, and they go, "Here, I think you'd be interested in this." The first page I read, I understand every detail. I already know this book. I already know this stuff. So I go, "Thank you, though. I didn't know this book existed." And then I realized everybody knows this, but not everybody's remembering. And I probably wouldn't have remembered of that book information if it wasn't for that person showing it to me.
Well, it was no coincidence. It was shown to you. The Keys of Enoch. I've heard it. This book exists. But you recommend people that are listening to read this book for to know more about the topic we are talking about, or?
I would recommend this book if they're ready, if they can understand the tech side of our inner world versus the outer world, because the universe, because we have a universe inside us too.
Yes, interesting. All right.
And this is kind of like levels of the dark and the light, the sun and the moon, and when we pass on, and that's other timelines as well. If we have time to share this.
Sure.
In the past several years, I would say maybe 5 years now, I entered another timeline from these times that I kept seeing. For years, I kept seeing every hour, on the hour, a number. And this lasted for years. And for months, I kind of did a track. And I logged in. I went, you know what? This is going to drive me crazy. So I did it for a few months. And then I started. I said, okay, I get it. You want me to listen to you? Yeah. I'll listen. But after that happened, and it took me to, I think, a higher of our human conscious. It took me to a higher point that sometimes when people pass on, now, if it's somebody either within my family or somebody I've known or friend of one of their relatives that I probably never met, I will see them. Some of them will come to me only if seem to be attracted with that energy that's connected with that family member. They will come to me. Didn't know I was able to see that too. And I didn't have that ability before that. I did have some that sometimes people would show up when they pass away, and a few days later, like they would appear in my mirror or something. I would just like when I was in my 20s and 30s, but nothing like it's been this past 5 years. Earth, time, and space has changed so much, and it's gone so much faster, and it's going to go even more faster. And we need to prepare ourselves. Our body needs stuff, our spirit, our well-being, and our conscious. It's important. As it gets faster, we cannot be that person. You can't. You're going to end up going to a different earth. And I know the past 12 years or so, I remember hearing people talk about, oh, did you know there's two earths? People are going to split themselves. They've been doing this for maybe millions of years. There's information out there of history. When you see two round things and then these energies like connecting cords and stuff, that's two planets. But that's like the sun and the moon. The two earths split one side to the other. It's constantly going to happen. When we leave here, which one are you going to go to? Are you going to go to the dark side, or are you going to go to the light side? Or are you going to be in the middle and try to balance everything to get in unity and for them all to heal and see what real truth is and where we're headed?
Is that related as well in the New Age terminology, the fifth dimension, this kind of idea, or?
There's so many dimensions out there. Fifth is like a starting point to help you, but when you get to the 12, And then, like I said, the 12, the 24, and then so on, that's when you're able to see the masters, the teachers. And then if after you hit 24 and hit another 12, 24, you get to the point, what they call gods.
Uh-huh.
I just call family.
Ah.
Higher being of our family. That's what they are. Very loving, very pure, no nonsense there.
Is that
for us down here, why this is a school, why it's training of discipline, is because you can't even get there unless you're pure, completely pure, conscious, your heart, your whole well-being. So all that pain and suffering you have to forgive yourself. You have to see that you are a loving being and everything is love to get there. And for some, that is really hard. And hearing and knowing what's happened to that individual, I understand it might take you longer. I've been there. It wasn't done by accident. It was done on purpose to put me where I'm supposed to be.
So you know your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I already know one of it is to what we are doing now. Basically, is what I think is one of the ideas. What your purpose is, to help humanity, to give information out, to help them. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are writing a book together, and you do ask the questions and I put the answers. It's to help people understand how everything works. So many out there, they put out there that they have the answers. I'm not going to say I have all the answers. I have only the answers from what I've experienced, been in communication with. I know from my past life and my future life, I will not share it if it's not true, because karma is real.
Yeah, that's a good one. So to understand better is that all the knowledge you don't have from books or videos or you just have this information. It's like cosmic knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes. This is the first book we're writing together because I didn't want to write nothing before because I was angry at everything that was going on, everything that this earth and everything on it is going through. I care for everything and I get angry if one doesn't want to listen, accept, acknowledge. I get angry, but it isn't that I get angry with them. I get angry within myself, knowing what had happened to humanity and these programs. I get mad. But I know what the future is going to be, and I know that it's going to be amazing and it's going to be beautiful. And for those that return, it'll be a good future for you. And those that do not have to come back and they have learned and become one with our higher spirit family, you can go home. But at least you know that you did your share while you were here. And thank you.
So are you. You do your share as well.
But I'm a little speck of everything.
Yeah,
I'm saying everything.
I understand your frustration that you see things and you know things, but still you are doing the best you can to help and to give information out, and will reach people and change them for the better. That's the idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really admire I think his name's Greg Braden.
Yes.
If you haven't heard of him, Google him. He's about spiritual science, quantum physics.
Yeah, and he has YouTube videos as well. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he's really great. He's very down to earth.
Yeah,
but amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he's great to listen to. He puts you in a good place.
Yeah. Maybe he will listen to this podcast. Who knows? Well.
Yeah. Excuse me.
No, don't worry. You're still a bit the aftershock of the vaccines. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think we basically we can talk for hours more about timelines, and I think basically we covered most of it. I think you gave lots of great information. Well, I want to thank you for that, and it's always a joy to listen to you. And I hope to do many more podcasts together with you. And yeah, let's think about the next subject. What do you
Okay,
think?
that would be great. And if anybody has a certain topic they want to talk, they're
Exactly.
free to post it.
I would like to, yeah, I would like to have people's feedback and suggestions. What they would like to know. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
see you and hear you from the next podcast.
All right.